See the moonlights on the town. Whoa, I'm getting ready. Tallawah TV is in the town. Whoa, I'm getting ready. Got a corner on the telephone. Yeah, this is the Shout Out the Messenger, and you're watching Tallawah TV with the host and best. So Davis, take it away.
Cads, finally. First of all, thank you so much for blessing me with a moment of your time. Long overdue. I know we tried to like make it work during the Gold Cup, but it wasn't possible. So thank you so much for blessing me with your time.
No, you're welcome. Yeah, the Gold Cup was interesting because we had it all set up, stayed awake, and then like a thunderstorm, and delayed the game for like 2 hours. And I was like, I'm sorry, I've got work in the morning, so I couldn't make it. But this time there was no thunderstorms. You know, that wasn't the result that we wanted. But I'm here to discuss the game, and I can't wait.
How did you find the game? I know I'm looking at the clock and it's like just gone past 5 o'clock here in the UK, so we're both feeling really tired and we need some rest. But we're gonna do our review and then shoot off the bed. So how did you find that?
Um, I thought the first half was really stop start, like a lot of fouls. And I couldn't work out if that was Mexico trying to get stuck in early and like intimidate Jamaica, or I couldn't tell if it was just one of those games where the referee was just, whistle happy, because there were some fouls that's like, referee, let it go, like, let the game flow, but they couldn't get it done. And I think that's what, if anything, spoiled the game for me. It was, the quality was low, but I think when the referee said there was 5 minutes at the time in the first half, I was like, you have got to be kidding me. Um, and yeah, I think the stop start nature of it kind of made it a difficult game to really get into. And ultimately, I think Jamaica didn't have enough to kind of get over the line. That second goal was just, to me, the second goal summed up the entire game. A pass into the Mexico attack, a miscontrolled ball, falls to Martin. He gets a shot off. Keeper gets a hand to it, but can't keep it out. And it's just, yeah, that summed up for me.
It's interesting. It's quite interesting that you've touched on the number of fouls that happened, particularly in the first half. What do you put that down to? Like, do you think that that was Mexico trying to get the better of us mentally because they know that naturally Jamaicans we can be quite hot-headed. So, do you think that they were trying to play on that advantage and possibly get one of our players sent off?
Yeah, but then at the same time, it wasn't like there was any dirty fouls, and there was a few from the Mexican side of things where a Jamaica player would go up for a header, and then there'd just be like an elbow in the back, and it's a silly foul to give away. But again, like I said, to me it felt like it was more a intimidation thing. It was like we're not here to. Basically, I felt like Mexico said to Jamaica, "We're not here for vibes. We're here for a football match, and we're going to make it rough. We're going to make it ugly. It's going to be played at our tempo. It's going to be played the way we want to play." And I think, unfortunately, Jamaica kind of just bowed down to that. Again, neither team could really get into the swing of things. But that first half, I can't remember a shot on target or, like Mexico should have gone ahead. Excellent cross into the box. Header basically heads it into the floor, over. And Jamaica's best chance came from a Mexico back pass, which we managed to intercept, and the keeper made a half decent block, I guess. But yeah, I just think Mexico made sure that Jamaica couldn't get into any kind of rhythm. And yeah, and I also think the referee didn't help either, because like I said, he was so quick to blow his whistle. There was a few times where he could have let play go on. He was like, nope. And again, it was one of those games where the referee wanted to be center stage. He was like, I'm here. This is my game. And it's like, come on, like, just let the two teams play. If it gets really, really bad, then intervene. If not, then let it go.
I agree with you there where you mentioned the referees almost in some sense like he tried to have like a Mike Dean moment, tried to make it all about him because it
Yeah.
was just like some of these fouls, it's just like it's uncalled for. Just let the game go. But I think you're right. That in itself kind of like stifled out the momentum. Nobody could really like get in rhythm. especially Jamaica. You saw Jamaica for the first quarter of the game, similar to the Gold Cup, where we looked good, the intensity was there, and then we just kind of took our foot off the gas for a bit, and then that's when you saw Mexico creeping into the game.
Yeah, definitely. I think obviously it was a very like I don't want to be disrespectful and say it was a weakened Jamaica side, but obviously with the red list and stuff like that, Jamaica couldn't really put out the team that everyone would have wanted to see. There was quite a few new call ups. Your like Mikel Antonios and stuff like that. But obviously, it was just a matter of again, like the match, a stop-start nature of a Jamaica team, which basically meant that you could understand if for the opening, 20, 25 minutes, Jamaica couldn't get into a rhythm because it was a bunch of players who, yes, they played together, they trained together, but you can tell that what they wanted to do wasn't quite working. A lot of passing among the back, it will get into midfield and then it will break down. It's like, okay, we go again and stuff like that. And then when it did get into midfield, there was a Mexican, foot there. I think there was I wouldn't say it was a foul, but a very unfortunate incident. And I can't remember I can't remember the two players involved. But the Mexican player's gone up for a header. The Jamaican player slipped underneath him. And then the Mexican player's like come down on his shin. And it's like, it's not a foul, but it's quite dirty. And again, it just summed up the game. It was a sloppy 90 minutes for me.
Yeah, it definitely had like moments of like just dirty play, like you said, that tackle where I think you're referring to Damian Lowe, where the defender got between his legs, and I'm guessing worst case scenario you could have snapped his ankle. Thankfully that wasn't the case, but there were a lot of dirty fouls in there. Speaking of new recruits that have come into the game, obviously we know that Anthony Grant made his debut. What did you make of Anthony before he was substituted off?
Very difficult game to make your debut in because again it was stop start, and I think that's the theme of the game. It's when you make your debut, you want to be a nice flowing game. You want to get on the ball, you want to impress, and he just couldn't do it, and it was through no fault of his own. I just think Mexico again made it difficult for anyone to really get involved in the game and to put a foothold in it and say this is my game. We're going to do X, Y, and Z. It just never got going.
I think, like, in fairness to Anthony Grant, bearing in mind, like you said, this is a difficult game to come into because we all know when it comes to Mexico and Jamaica, it's in some sense a derby. Both sets of fans don't like each other. We both want to beat each other on every occasion, whether it's a friendly or a competitive match. But I think for Anthony Grant, given the situation and the circumstances that he's been brought into the team for his debut, I think if you're watching the Reggae Boyz for the first time, you'd probably assume that he is a regular starter and that wasn't his debut because he did have a few moments of brilliance there.
Yeah, definitely. But I think obviously when you make your debut, you want to be more than a few moments. You want to have a brilliant match, especially with the players that were missing. Your Leon Baileys and stuff like that. The players that are coming in. Your Mikel Antonios. That either rightly or wrongly, some of these players are going to get a lot more limelight, a lot more screen time simply because of the league they play in and stuff like that. So for him, it wasn't a bad debut. Obviously, could have gone a lot better. And those few moments, you kind of just wish they were just long-lasting periods of play as opposed to moments. But again, I don't blame him for that. I just think it was a very difficult game for anyone to make their debut in.
Yeah, I think I don't think anyone can criticize Anthony Grant too harshly. It wasn't a bad debut. Like I said, he had few periods of brilliance. Maybe as a collective we would have performed differently outside of this particular circumstance. Like we know that Mexico went into the game having already had a string of training sessions. So they were already in camp from Sunday. Jamaica's only training session started yesterday, literally the eve of the game. So do you think that played into Mexico advantage, or do you think that, at this stage it wasn't that big of a deal or it didn't make that much of a difference?
Oh no, I think it played a massive role in the game. I think obviously where it's the start of September, these guys, obviously, they would have been together during the Gold Cup, gone away, gone back to the teams for the start of the season, but it's doing that pre-season, start of the season form. So to get back as a team and basically have, one training session, it's very difficult. And again, I think if anything, that's what basically was the winner. That Mexico were able to go for the full 90 minutes. They were able to keep on going. And you can tell towards the end, Jamaica were tiring. Because I think, again, with the winning goal, I reckon a few more training sessions under their legs, Jamaica are able to, pick up on that loose pass and clear it. Instead, they're kind of caught on their heels, Mexico goal, and it's like, it's difficult, it's annoying, but given, these times with COVID and stuff like that, there's nothing you can do about it. You just have to, roll your socks up and say, we go again next time.
No, I agree with you. I think that the lack of training session definitely played a role in the game itself, or maybe not necessarily the overall results, because I think the results surprisingly was down to defensive fragility or defensive mistakes. Definitely for the first 2 goals. So when Mexico scored and when Jamaica scored, and then for the third goal, so Mexico beating Jamaica 2-1, we were both at fault for defensive fragility and defensive mistakes. But aside from that, where do you think we went wrong as a collective team?
I don't want to use the referee as the scapegoat, the one to blame, but I just think again it was very much, when you have a game like that, sometimes you need the referee to let things go because play your advantage. You don't know what's going to happen. There was one incident towards the end of the game. I think it was the referee gave a free kick for a handball against Jamaica, but the player's hand was behind his back.
Yes.
So,
natural position.
Yeah, so they're going. His arm is behind his back, so he doesn't handball it. It's hit his arm. He can't do nothing about it, and you've given the free kick. So they're going that that's just unlucky. And I think to play Jamaica, the goal that Nicholson scored was brilliant. The first time finish, absolute quality. But I feel like that was the only real moment of quality for Jamaica. And again, you needed more of that. I just think it's lack of training. Players still getting used to each other after a Gold Cup, and again, like your Bobby Reed's on in the team and stuff like that. I just think Jamaica were missing some key players, which basically meant that the overall squad talent kind of dipped, and that's harsh on the guys that did play because they played well. It was just a matter of lack of training, and like I said, towards the end, you can tell Jamaica were kind of just holding on, saying let's get a point, let's get out there, get out here and go again, and. Yeah, I think the keeper was unlucky to not save it because he gets a hand to it, but it's just a really good finish from the striker.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think the lack of training definitely played a role in this. You can have people who will disagree and say, well, maybe that's down to the substitution of Anthony Grant from the coach, but definitely the lack of preparation played a role in this. And you could see that in the first period of the first 45 where players are going down and they've got cramps, and I don't even think we hit half an hour on the clock. So at that point, you can kind of sense that, fitness level is probably not where it should be. And I think that definitely played a role in the full-time result.
Yeah, definitely.
And also, I think, what do you make of our defense decisive sharpness? Because it seemed, like you said, our real opportunity, clear-cut opportunity came from Nicholson, but it seems that we was lacking that decisive cutting edge. We didn't have that selfish player who could pretty much create something out of nothing until Junior Flemings came onto the pitch.
It's funny you said that. I was just about to mention him because I thought when he came on, once he came on, it's like, okay, a bit more flair. But again, it's like, I would say it's a little too late and stuff like that. But again, you just need someone to really take the game by the scruff of the neck, which is such a cliche thing to say, and say, okay, we're not at our best, but I'm going to make sure that, that we get going. And I think sometimes all it takes is, and again, it sounds like such a cliche, but a piece of skill or a shot that, hits the post or tests the keeper, and then Jamaica like, you know what? Okay, yeah, we're in the game. That never really happened, and I think again credit to Jamaica because at 1-0 down, Mexico missed a chance. You know, it's basically an open goal, hit the post, and I think it would have been easy for Jamaica to go, okay, it's not working out for us today. Let's try and keep it 1-0, is what it is. But they saw that opportunity as, okay, we've been given a second chance here, a second life. Let's go and get the equaliser, which they went on to do. It's just that, you know, we keep on going back to it. That lack of training just meant that even with substitutions, players were still feeling it. Like you said, players going down the cramp in the first half. It's just like, come on, but
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
there's
To
nothing
no
to do
fault
about
of
it.
their own, but when you see that, it's a worrying sign. You can tell that, yeah, how long can you go? Can you go the full 90, or are you going to be substituted? And these were a few of our key players as well. So I was like, okay, this is looking quite worrying. When I saw Damien Lowe go down with a cramp, I was like literally fearing the worst because he's been one of our standout players from the Gold Cup. But I think that you're absolutely right. It's more about us trying to capitalize on the slimmest of chances. Because I think that's literally what Mexico did. And I guess you could say Shamar Nicholson is a moment of brilliance from Nicholson and for the Mexico match winning goal. But it's just about us just trying to make something out of nothing going into the next game.
Yeah, definitely. You know, we haven't really given credit or much credit to Nicholson, given that, you know, it's a defensive clearance from Mexico, which he's hit first time on the volley, beat the keeper. You know, it's and again, you think it's one of those moments where Jamaica were like, okay, you know, we're on the front foot now. It's a brilliant goal to score. Let's go and get a second. But once again, that, you know, the tiredness in the legs, the lack of training, and I guess people will look at it and go, well, they've been training with their club team. How, you
Not the
know,
same.
you know, of course not. You know, some guys are flown in from, you know, halfway across the world. They've come in. You know, I wouldn't even say it's really jet lag, but you know, again, it's, you know, these guys are professionals. They play together at the Gold Cup. They kind of know what each other can do. But sometimes it's about, you know what, let's have 2 or 3 sessions to remind ourselves that, you know, Fleming wants the ball to feet, Burke wants the ball, and you know, all that kind of stuff. And I just think it was unfortunate. And don't get me wrong, Martin took his goal for Mexico really, really well. Again, first time shot. Again, you kind of just wish that you get, you know, that slice of luck where the keeper's hand is strong enough to tip it over the bar. But again, it's I can't blame the keeper for that. It's a very, very, very good goal.
Yeah, I can't take nothing away from them. It hurts to say that because obviously they are our rivals, and two countries we never want to lose against is Mexico and the USA. So it hurts to lose against them, and it's the manner in which we lost against them because we were so close, literally from nicking a point on their home soil, but it wasn't meant to be. How would you look at trying to fit the likes of Flemings and Nicholson into the game against Panama? Because let's remind ourselves, at club level for Nicholson, he scored a hat trick in his last game, and the game before that, he scored 1 goal. For Flemings, he scored 1 goal and 1 assist over his last 2 games. So how do you fit them into that next game, bearing in mind that we have the new recruits such as, you know, Kimar Roof and Michael Antonio?
I think that's when you say, you know, okay, show me in training, show me why you should start. And again, goes back to that lack of training. It could be a matter of, had, you know, Fleming turned up, you're looking sharp in training, you go, do you know what? Yeah, you know, you're going to start. I think that's how you fit them in. You see what works in training. You see who's looking sharp, who's come out of this Mexico game with a grudge. You know, that chip on their shoulder that we shouldn't have lost. That, you know, 89th minute, let's see it out. Who you know, who's making those extra tough yards in training? Who, you know, is fizzing the ball quickly on the ground in training and stuff like that. So I think that's the best way to fit in your, you know, Roofs, your Fleming and stuff like that. It's show me in training. And again, Fleming came on and done really, really well. So hopefully he's in the manager's mind for the next game to say, okay, you came off the bench and done well. I'm now going to trust you to start. You're in form at club level. Can you bring it onto the international stage?
I agree with you there. One thing I can credit Nicholson and Flemings for is that under the current circumstance, with the two new forward striker coming into the potentially coming into the game against Panama, is that for me they have somewhat taken their opportunity, especially Nicholson. He's given a good account of himself. And we know that Flemings came on as a substitute. But like you said, like when he came on, you could see that there was a change in the game. So I think two players that can be proud of themselves is definitely Nicholson and Flemings.
Yeah, definitely. But I also think, the entire team can be proud of themselves.
Yeah.
While Mexico did have a few chances to, I wouldn't say see the game out, but if you look at the stat, they had 27 shots, 7 shots on target, 73% possession. But at the same time, I didn't watch that game going. It was only a matter of time before Mexico scored, because a lot of the possession was just in front of the Jamaica defense, and the chances they did have, were like, okay, but I expect Jamaica to deal with it. I expect Blake to make those saves. There was a really good save from a header, which I was like, actually, you know what, Blake? Okay, hands up. That's all you. But again, outside of that, it wasn't like Mexico really pushed Jamaica. Don't get me wrong. I was watching a Mexican stream. I couldn't understand a single word the competitor was saying. So for all I know, they could have been ranting and raving about how good this game was. But I was watching it going, probably a draw is a fair result, because both teams were quite sloppy. It just came down to a individual moment of brilliance. And again, sometimes that's what settles these games. And that's what we obviously hope Fleming would have done for us. Didn't work out. But again, next time we go again.
Definitely, I definitely agree with you. So just to remind everyone, if you didn't get a chance to watch the game, unfortunately, we have started off our World Cup qualifier with a 2-1 defeat at the hands of Mexico. Almost had it towards the end, but unfortunately, it wasn't meant to be on this occasion. Unfortunate about the result, but overall, how do you feel about the game itself?
It was a sloppy stop-start game, but again, I still think Jamaica, done themselves proud. It's just, to me, just see the game out. But again, I feel like we're making excuses for them. They're professional. They probably don't need it. They probably don't want it. But from 85 minutes, honestly, okay. Once we start getting tired, just don't lose. And again, people say it's negative football. People will say that they're showing no ambition. But if you don't have the minutes in your leg to go the full 90s, like, you know what? Let's just be a bit smart. You always see it's such a cliche. You see managers and players, pointing to their heads, that let's play smart. You just needed someone at the back to say, guys, we don't need to change the game no more. We've got back into it. It's 1-1. Let's take the point. We're away from them, and like I said, take that into Panama. Take a point in Panama and say, you know what, let's build on that, as opposed to taking nothing to Panama and saying, okay, now we've got to basically start from the ground up.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. They definitely try to knock the stuffing out of us with their rough play at times. And I think on this occasion they just about got the better of us. Because like you said, there were periods in that game where you're looking at the guys and you're thinking, play smart, don't react to this, stay switched on. So like I said, it was unfortunate. And just to remind everyone again, we have lost 2-1 to Mexico in our World Cup qualifier first opening match. Hopefully in our next game against Panama, we can look to put things right and get some more goals on the score sheet. That remains to be seen. But until then, Cads, thank you so much again for blessing me with your time. So it's a pleasure talking to you about football, even if it is sometimes about Arsenal and Manchester United. I always love speaking with you.
Do you know what? I'm not even gonna bully you about Arsenal at the moment. I just think it's not fair. Like I can see the Arsenal shirt behind you, and I think you're brave. I think you're brave to be working at the moment. But you know what? I just think in terms of Jamaica, it's just one of my fondest memories in my entire life was the 1998 World Cup. My family aren't massive football fans. Obviously, I am, but having family from, you know, all over the country coming together
Yeah.
for that opening game, I won that again. You know, even though the World Cup is in Qatar, which isn't the best of things, having Jamaica back at a major tournament, back at the World Cup, you know, pure vibes, and I can't wait for it. So fingers crossed.
Yeah. Would you go? Would you go to Qatar?
No. It wouldn't happen. But you know, I'd support from home, put it that way.
Yeah. Well, hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll qualify for the World Cup, because it's been close to 30 years since the men's side were lost at the World Cup, so it's long overdue. I've got on like my 98 jersey at the moment, so hopefully I can maybe rock this in Qatar if we qualify. But again, Kads, thank you so much for blessing me with a moment of your time, and we're definitely going to do this again. If not against Panama, then most certainly for the October fixtures, if your diary allows you to.
You say diary, it's sleep schedule. I'm not gonna lie. No, you know I love my sleep. We'll definitely work something out.
Thank you, Kads.
Thank you.